Hello, guys.
No.
I'll just adjust this a little. As you might be, as you might be able to gather from the title, this is the opposite of last week's video, which was our top 5 favorite Kanto Pokemon. Now we are doing our top 5, well, I guess our bottom 5 least favorite Kanto Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah, same clothing.
Yeah.
And it's literally the same clothing off the French position.
I was just gonna I was just gonna say you might be able to tell, but we're recording this right after the other one, but it is going to go up next week.
Just a tease.
Well, this week when
It's
you're
like
watching,
instead of giving you the good stuff all in one go, they split it into 3 films.
Well, you know what?
Just get more
It
money out of
depends because I mean maybe
when
they're
you
watching
watch it,
yeah, maybe they're watching it 3 years in the future. Anyway,
We'll just
then
have
it will still not be a week ago.
I'm on all week.
anyway, much the same rules and pretty much the exact same structure as the last one. We're going to go one by one, say first our least favourite starter, then our least favourite legendary, then we're going to get into our bottom 5, our least favourite Pokemon from Kanto. If you guys wouldn't mind, I'll start us off again.
Sure.
Okay. First off, my least favourite starter is Venusaur. This isn't really... I'm sorry, Andrew, but I'm not going to shit on it like Richard will. I don't dislike Venusaur at all. I love Venusaur. Bulbasaur is an awesome Pokemon. I love Ivysaur's design. If there's one thing I could knock this evolution line for, it's that I think Ivysaur has a better design than Venusaur. And that's only because I like the rose on its back as opposed to the open, weird, stink flower looking thing.
And as you said earlier, the designs don't really develop that much; they just become more detailed.
Yeah, like I like it. I like it as a Pokemon, but I have to have a least favorite, and it is Venusaur. You know what I don't think doesn't help it though is the grass poison typing, which I'm pretty sure every grass Pokemon that was introduced in Gen 1 bar Tangela was a grass poison type. I'll have to check that up, but if that's not exactly right, it's close. Anyway, there's not much else to say really. I just have to have a least favorite, and I happen to like Blastoise and Charizard more than Venusaur. Andrew?
It's the same. I have to have a least favorite, and it's controversial, but Charizard. He's a big generic looking orange dragon thing, and I have a problem with Pokemon that have literally a fatal flaw, which for him is the fire on his tail.
Oh yeah, right.
Because if it gets put out, then it literally dies.
Yeah.
There's not much else really. For a fire type, in the last video, I said how much I like Vulpix and Arcanine. I just don't find Charizard that inspiring, really.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's about all there is to say.
Okay.
That made me cry too much.
To be fair, Nathan said a lot of what I was going to say. Obviously, I'm choosing Venusaur. I can't hate it because I don't use it. It's just that's one of the reasons why it's the least favorite, because I choose not to use it. I much prefer focusing on first fire. If fancy something different, I'll go for Squirtle, just because when you get to Blastoise, you have 2 Demons on your back. And what? It's even want Demons on his back.
This is true.
Very true. So yeah, and
that is a good point. None of us picked Blastoise as our least favourite.
It's the mid one.
Coincidentally, on my first playthrough of any Pokemon game was on Y, and Blastoise is the Kanto starter that I chose when I got the chance.
But yeah, mainly I'm choosing Venusaur, just as piss up Andy. I love to piss you off.
Was that just lovely?
I will mention.
I said I was lovely.
Lovely would imply some sort of elegance.
Oh!
He's a very lovely kid.
Cat clown!
Anyway, as you'll find something I just want to mention, you'll find throughout this series of videos, just to make sure the screensaver doesn't come again, you'll find throughout this series of videos that I don't really dislike any of the starters, and I will I promise you I will make note of when I actually do dislike the starter. Starters are generally very well designed. Anyway, assuming you finish on Venusaur.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that you just made your point about that you don't really hate.
Yeah.
My list of hating, I really do despise most.
Oh no, I'm literally just talking about the starters.
Yeah, you can't really hate the starters. Wow.
Bar
Happens.
2 exceptions
Yeah.
for me personally.
I don't really hate any of them. There are some that I dislike.
Well, I mean that's what I mean. I just like using over the top language.
Fair enough.
I am a theatre student after all. Anyway, sorry about that. My least favourite legendary Pokemon from Generation 1, considering there's only 5 to choose from, and again, for this generation, I don't really dislike any of them, Moltres. As much as I love the legendary birds as a whole, I don't like Moltres' design that much. If I want a fire-flying Pokemon, I'm just going to go with Charizard. But, you know, Moltres, it's just got this really weird pin-headed design, and I'm not a fan of it that much. I mean, the fire on its wings, on its head and everything definitely saves it from being, I genuinely don't like this design, but I definitely don't like it as much as the others, and there's not much else to it really. I still like it as a Pokemon, I'm just not too big a fan of it.
I've come close to having the same opinion, but for me it is going to be kicking you in the teeth. It's Zapdos. I think it's a really lazy design. The spikiness is stupid.
Oh, you're shitting on 2-year-old Nathan Andrew.
Yeah, I am, aren't I?
You touched his inner child. It's very bad.
But yeah, I just think it's a really lazy, over-the-top, unnecessary design. I know it resembles being an electric type really well, but
It's not your thing.
also in Pokemon Y, because of my choice of starter, it was the one I had to chase around, and it took me ages to figure out how to do it.
You
It
know
just
what?
became
You know
really
what?
laborious.
Like, funnily enough, I had a similar thing because of the starter I chose. I ended up chasing Moltres.
Yeah. It just gets irritating after a while,
Roaming
having to
legendaries
chase
are.
the thing around. And I know this is really unfair to pick up on, but I also have a problem with, like, it's only a very mild thing, but I have a problem with Pokemon that have a type advantage against themselves. But yeah, that's very minor, right?
Okay. Mine exactly the same as Moltres because design more than anything.
Just that
Not my
weird
favourite.
pinhead shape.
Yeah.
Not my favourite.
Also, something I'll mention for Zapdos and Moltres, they both have the really elongated beaks,
Mm.
and that just looks kind of stupid. I think it looks... Alright, I'm going to be a little bit biased because I like Zapdos and I dislike Moltres more than Zapdos, but the real long beak, I think it works just ever so slightly better on Zapdos. He's got the wider head to compensate. But Moltres just has the ball pinhead and then a massive beak.
To me, that makes him look streamlined though.
Mm.
And with Zapdos, it just looks like, why is it so small when his head's so big?
I get it. It's all down to personal preference.
Yeah. Moltres is certainly the most hated between the group.
Yeah,
Because for you two, it's your worst, and then for me, it's second worst.
fair enough. Anyway, now we'll actually get onto the 5 regular Pokemon list. My number 5 spot is Fearow. And for my number 5, I picked a very similar looking Pokemon to Moltres. It's got that same sort of pin-headed design, except on Fearow you can actually see feathers, so it fills it out a little more. But then it's got that, like, I don't know, let's ignore it. It's a very mediocre and boring design to me, so it wouldn't have made this list if it wasn't for one reason, and that's the weird turkey chicken thing it has on its head. That weird red crest thing, it looks really stupid. I've never really used a Fearow, so I can't say how it performs in battle. It's a second normal flying type, which I know at this point they hadn't done the regional bird Pokemon for every single generation yet, except for Generation 2, but we had two in Generation 1, and one of them was Pidgey, which I have a slight bias to Pokemon that evolve as opposed to Pokemon that don't, and I have a more of a bias towards the ones that evolve more than once. So I just like Pidgey more, and I feel like the Fear Line's sort of useless. I'm not a fan. Anyway, Andrew?
Cloyster. It's not because it's far from something that I really dislike. It's just, I feel its design looks a bit silly. But
How would you feel, just out of curiosity, because I know one of the sprites had it do, how would you feel if it opened like as a regular clan, like
like Kanto does?
Yeah, or like Shelder does?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like those either.
Ah, fair enough. I'm just saying, would the design be better to you if it was flipped?
No.
Fair enough.
So you just generally don't like clowns.
Yeah,
I'm not too happy about that.
Can we please keep that out of the video?
We'll edit that
Make
out.
it sound my Cloyster.
We won't edit that out.
No, I'm too lazy with editing. Go ahead, Andrew.
As I said at the beginning, it's just something that I dislike mildly, and there are other things, like everything else except what comes afterwards on this list. I just prefer at least a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it really.
Okay, mine, Rwanda.
Yes, that's my new name for you.
Please, can we just continue?
I sound like your Latino bitch.
Richard,
You're my Latino
please just say your number 5.
My number 5's Executor. Just because, as we said before, it's one of them ones that I just don't.
You don't care for.
Yeah, it's one of them. That's the best way to describe it. It's one of them.
I'm sure you guys know what we're talking about. You said that one Pokemon where you can't pinpoint it. You don't really dislike it, but it's just
It's strange because I love pineapple.
Okay. It's a palm tree.
I know, but the design reminds me of pineapple.
Fair
But
enough.
did it grow from a seed or from an egg?
I was watching that video yesterday. Oh, whatever. Is that it then?
Yeah, it's just one of them. Yeah.
If we rewatch these videos, I think we've got at least 3 subjects for other videos about gripes we have about Pokemon.
Alright, my number 4 pick is Electrode. Electrode I don't dislike as a Pokemon to use, but the reason it's on here is because it just embodies the stupid and lazy designs from Generation 1. Stupid and lazy designs have been a problem in Pokemon since the very first generation. A lot of people complain now, especially I heard it especially well with Gen 5, that they're running out of ideas and they're making stupid and lazy Pokemon. They have always been part of it from the very first fucking games. There are countless Pokemon I could have put on here. Muck and Grimer, Ditto to an extent, even though it works with what it's supposed to be. Electrode, Voltorb, obviously. To an extent, Doduo and Dodrio. But yeah. I can't have too much of a problem with Voltorb because I can't really blame them for wanting a Pokemon that looked like a Pokeball. But if Electrode didn't exist, Voltorb probably would have taken this spot. My problem comes in that when they evolved Voltorb, their idea was to just take it and turn it upside down so the white's on top and the red's on the bottom. What the hell? That is so lazy. I hate it. I
It's like
hate
having
its
an
design.
art exhibition of a sink with toothbrushes and saying, yeah, this is art.
I remember that.
society.
That's a rant for a completely other video. But it's just stupid. I guess you can't have taken it many places considering Voltorb is just a Pokeball with eyes. So, I can't fault them for what they did in terms of Electrode's design,
Honestly,
really.
like, you had this chance to give it a mouth this time.
Yeah. If I had made Voltorb's evolution, I would have made it a joke that it looked like a Pokeball, and its evolution would look like a Great Ball. It still would have been lazy, but it would have been funny.
It would have been hilarious to have it look like a Master Ball. Then, like, there's small children of that play in Kanto. That's the one. Not the name of Legion. So yeah, just the children of Kanto running around finding master balls everywhere. They throw them at a legendary just to face disappointment.
Oh well.
I'm gonna catch a mute.
Anyway, yeah, they'll totally think of Voltor, which, if I remember right, is like 4 to 5 foot wide, or maybe it's just 1 foot wide. I can't remember. Either way, bigger than this. But
Fine, it's appropriate for catching supersized Pokeballs.
your turn, Andrew. I've ranted about Electrode enough.
Right. Kingler or Krabby. They are just so generic. They're just crabs. They don't seem to do anything. I've never. Gone.
Sorry. I was just gonna say. I think that was a problem. Well, not really a problem. That was a theme with Gen 1 in general. Really, they had really, really simplistic designs.
Seal and Dugong as well.
Or Rattata and Raticate, or Doduo and Dodrio.
But I actually like
Pidgey.
The thing is though, I like every other example. Like from a practical standpoint or something, or in the case of Seal and Dugong, just because they look cute.
Yeah.
But Kingler and Krabby, I just can't get behind them. They're incredibly forgettable to me as well, and it just seems like another of those lazy designs where they could have done more with what they were basing it off, but they just chose not to.
Instead, you got a little crab, and then a bigger crab with more spikes and a lopsided claw.
Is that you doing?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Keeping with the theme of the 4-player spot, I'd pick
That's his name.
Yeah. Diglett. Just because lazy design, it's literally a thumb sticking out of the dirt.
Really? I never thought about that one actually.
Yeah. It's lazy, and to be honest, I've used it before. It's not fun to use.
It is when it evolves into Dugtrio. It's
Maybe
really powerful.
I'm not doing much change. Literally, as its base Pokemon, it's not fun to use and lazy design, so that's my point.
It's fair enough. Alright, my third place spot, Victory Bell. What kind of an ungodly, ugly Pokemon is Victory Bell? Alright, for starters, it's a grass poison type which isn't helping it in Gen 1 because, like I said before, I'm pretty sure almost every grass Pokemon introduced in Gen 1 was grass poison. So that's definitely not helping it. I can't think of many outstanding stats that it has. It's really forgettable to me. You've got Bellsprout, which looks like, I guess it's tulip. Tulips are the ones that look like hanging bells, right?
I'm trying to remember the one that it's based on, but I can't remember.
Regardless, it looks like a flower. It looks like it could disguise itself as a flower.
This is really useful in Plants vs Zombies.
Anyway, then you have Weeping Bell. Weeping Bell looks derpy, but at the same time, I do kind of like it. And then for Victory Bell, once again, they just made it bigger and then turned it upside down. That seems to be a theme.
At least they turned it into another type of plant, though.
Yeah. But at the same time, alright. Bellsprout and Weeping Bell look like bells because they hang.
Yeah.
Victory Bell does not. I don't know why that particular bit bugs me so much, but it does. I don't like its design. I'm not really a fan of its typing, considering how common it was. And I can think of plenty of grass types that I like more. I don't. And the fact, I don't know, I haven't brought the anime too much in this, but in the anime it was annoying. James would send it out, and 90% of the time, at least from what I remember, it wouldn't do anything. It would make a high-pitched screeching noise, and then it would bite him. And most of the time, it wouldn't even stop to do an attack. It would just keep biting him until the battle ended, and that really bugged me. Anyway, your turn,
Hypno. Not entirely sure why. He just, yay for irony, he gets into my head, and it's just an annoying image that I get out of it. It looks daft as well.
Looks like an old man with a big nose.
Yeah, essentially. He's another. I'd like Alakazam, but I feel he's stupid for his spoons, and if I mention him, I'll bring leather. And again, another Pokemon that evolves to use an actual object. That's another gripe of that. And what's up with his fur color?
Have you not seen it? What?
Oh yeah, a pimp who looks like an old bloke with a yellow upper body.
To be fair, he does kidnap children.
Alright,
something I only just noticed. This is going to be racist. Hypno's yellow and he has squinty eyes. And it was designed by a Japanese game. Whatever. Bad Nathan.
But if I'm really honest with myself, it's not something I really dislike, much like Finger and Cloyster. He's just one of those other Pokemon, except he's more noticeable than Finger, and I don't like him for that, because I don't want him to be there.
Yeah, mine's third place is Cider. It's not because of the design. The design's basic, but it's a normal one. The thing that really got on fucking nerves with Psyduck was his voice, just constantly, especially in the anime. Psy! That really annoyed me. And if anyone's listening to this in headphones, I apologise, but still.
Oh yeah,
his voice just
that's
really
just a quick note I want to make, and I'm sorry for saying it so late. Checking the audio quality of this, it seemed really loud when I was listening back, because I'm recording on my laptop, because I have to use my phone to remind myself of Pokemon. So, sorry.
Yeah, that's
And he's not even a Korean musician, what the hell?
You know what bugs me about that line? Even though I do like that line, it's probably, if not in my top 10, it would probably be in my top 15. At least Golduck would. Neither of them are part Psychic type.
Yeah.
But they're known for using Psychic moves.
Like, I think that's more relevant to his character than his being a Buckers.
Yeah, I think the Staryu line does get the Psychic type added though. I think Starmie is part Psychic.
Yeah.
Which is stupid because it's not known for using Psychic moves. Anyway, that's just a weird little mini rant. My number 2 spot is Jinx. Do I need to say anything else? It looks like a hooker. It was the center of some really stupid controversy where people were claiming that Jinx was racist because it was black, had big lips and big eyes and blonde hair.
I wasn't carrying a bucket case, is it?
Like, I don't know what to say about Jinx that isn't common knowledge. Whether it was based off of something that was supposed to, as far as I'm aware, it's based off of the trend of Gongoro girls, and that isn't supposed to be racist. That's supposed to be in honor of black culture. If you take it, like, if you took offense to Jinx before they turned it purple, then whatever. I can't say that you shouldn't take offense to it because everyone's different, but it annoys me that so many people just jumped on it and said, oh my god, it's racist. That's more to do with the people than the Pokemon, obviously, but the Pokemon still looks fucking ridiculous. And it's such a cool typing too. Psychic and Ice, no pun intended. But it was wasted on a shittily designed Pokemon. And it got a baby Pokemon Generation 3, and I hate baby Pokemon. Andrew, you go. I'm about to have an aneurysm.
It also got a baby Pokemon in 3. It's Mr. Mime. And
Got a baby Pokemon in 4.
You can tell I don't play Pokemon very much anymore.
Mm.
Oracle rather. But yeah.
And Oracle.
But yeah, he's just another Pokemon that's there. You really don't want him to be. He looks daft, like you said. But your thing about him not appearing in France or the French region
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't realised it until you mentioned it earlier, but it's starting to bug me now. And, like, Pokemon are not meant to be based on people.
Hmm.
It's just, if you've got a humanoid-ish,
Like Hitmonchan.
yeah, they're alright, because they're not open trying to look like people. Mr. Mime does,
Yeah.
and that is something that, to me, is something that Pokemon should just never do.
It treads too far in the uncanny valley, I think.
Yeah.
It just looks creepy.
Mm,
Not to mention it's a mime, which is a common fear anyway.
yeah. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. My number 2 will be Kakuna. Just because it's
Might as well put Kakuna / Metapod for this, because they're
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing.
yeah, just because if anyone's actually played used the in the game, you can use it. It's not usable unless you just want to get very hard. Yeah, you can't do nothing.
You know what? I think the anime episode put it best. You had Ash with the Metapod, and you had that other guy with the Metapod, and the entire battle was they sat around and used Harden.
It's pretty much all you do in the game as well. Any game
Until you finish up.
and
Or
then
you
just
switch it out and beat Pokemon or something else so you can get it to evolve quickly.
it's one that really bugs me, and it shouldn't be there. You're down, Nathan. Thank you.
Well, for my number 1 pick, and something you might have noticed is that my list tends to be mostly fully evolved Pokemon because I don't take too much issue with really weak first or middle stages because if they evolve into something good, then no harm done. But anyway, my number 1 pick was Andrew's number 2 pick, Mr. Mime, and boy do I have just a little tiny fucking bit more to say about Mr. Mime. Okay, so let's start off.
Oh god.
Mr. Mime does not look like a mime. It looks like a clown or a court jester. That bugs me the most. It's supposed... If you're gonna make a mime Pokemon, make a mime Pokemon. Nothing about it looks mimish. Sure, it might act mimey. I used 2 different words. Sure, it might act more like a mime, like especially in Gen 6 when it's doing the mime in a box thing. But it doesn't look it. To me, apart from the pale face, it looks either like a clown, like I said, either a clown because of the outfit, and that, well, pretty much just the outfit and the colours, or a court jester because of the hair pointing out like that. I hate it. 2, Psychic was overpowered in Gen 1 anyway, but there were many, well, I guess not that many considering it was just Gen 1, but there were a lot of better Psychic types. Sure, you had to trade to get Abra's final evolution, and sure, Hypno and Drowsy might not be the best, but they're better than Mr. fucking Mime. Another reason, you can only obtain it in Gen 1 through an in-game trade, and when you do that, it has the stupidest fucking nickname I have ever heard. Mimian. What the fuck? I'm not joking. Watch Trigger Conroy's Let's Play of Fire Red. It has the name Mimian, and it's a traded Pokemon, so you ain't changing it. Like, I just don't like Mr. Mime. Pretty much all it's good for, well, all I ever think of when I think Mr. Mime is setting up different barriers. And
That's Bethany's job now.
yeah, I just sure. Alright, it was made part fairy type, right?
Yep.
Why? What about a mime or a clown or a court jester is even remotely fairy-like? Sure, Klefki's keys, and that's not fairy-like either. And that's a rant for another thing. But you know what? I'm gonna take over. I'm done.
See Nathan's number 2. It's Jinx. Just everything that Nathan said. It enabled some racism bullcrap.
And it's wearing clothes. You thought Saw and Throw were the only ones. No, Jinx. Look at Jinx. It's wearing a dress and a fucking opera bra thing.
Yeah, just rewind the video slightly, watch Nathan's, and you've really got everything I have, like, issue with things. And it's again what I said with Mr. Mime, they shouldn't look like people. This one's characterish, but still, it looks too much like a person. And back to the racism thing. Like, the whole... I'm getting into something that's not appropriate for this video with this whole racism controversy. Your turn.
Yeah, my number one, a lot of people will agree with me because they know the pain. Going from a cave in Pokemon and being
Bombarded.
by Zubat every 5 steps really has pissed me off over the years. Still does and still will. Obviously, you can get stuff like repels and whatever. But yeah, it's one of the most annoying things about Pokemon. You just want to take a nice ride in a dark cave and you get touched up by bats. It's wrong in all directions.
Either that or you have to go through the cave to get to another part of the game.
Yeah, it's wrong in all directions, but it's one of them ones that I will rage over. I have to do a rage video. Until then, you guys will just have to put up with it because it's Zubat. Something loyal.
This is why I made it a point in Generation 2 at least to capture a Zubat, and I'm going to evolve. I think it is now evolved into a Crobat. And Crobat's awesome. But I will agree, the pain of constantly running into Zubat. I imagine, I know you haven't played the Generation 5 games, but I imagine if you had Swoobat or Woobat or whatever it was called, would have taken an honorary shared place here as well. It's pretty much the exact same thing.
Fair enough.
Anyway, guys, that was our video on our least favorite Kanto Pokemon.
This is going to be the opening and closing bit.
You
always.
Hopefully next week we will have our top 5 Johto Pokemon. It will be the same structure, blah blah blah. It will be us 3 sitting around talking about Pokemon we like and dislike. Goodbye, guys. Andrew, you gonna say bye?
No.